Let the record reflect that all members of the Audit Committee are present. Mr. Duke is here representing the Audit Department, and Mr. Epley and the Director of Administration are both here representing the administration. We'll ask for Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Duke, would you lead us?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't know what's now.
All right, let me thank Mr. Epley and Ms. Taylor for being here today to represent the administration. Since we're going to be going through some audits that they may have some comments on, we'll move to item 2.
New business, review of the PPG leased property Boat Harbor's follow-up internal audit report.
Okay, this is a review of the Plaquemines Parish PPG follow-up internal audit of employee time and attendance. Project number 2021-04. Observations. Observation number 1, monthly payroll personnel. Recommendation: consider certifying in the memo that the employees have worked their required hours as stated by the following LLA best practice. If not using timesheets, employees must otherwise certify that they have worked their required hours, 40 hours per week for a full-time employee. In addition, I would recommend that these letters or memos be dated at the end or beginning of each month. These offices, including the one employee under administration that sends the payroll a monthly timesheet, courthouse security.
One second. Let me. Yeah, we're on.
He's on B instead of A.
Okay.
Okay.
Just for clarification, I want everybody to be on the
Sorry
same
about that.
page because
Yeah, I've got it in a different order. I
on
guess.
the agenda we have the review of the PPG lease property Boat Harbor's follow-up
You
internal.
want to do that one first?
audit.
Okay.
It's first on the agenda, so.
Okay, let's.
I mean, I know we realize it, but if we can stick to the agenda.
That's fine. Okay, follow-up internal audit report of the Plaquemines Parish Government's PPG property lease and building rentals, project number 2021-06. Observation number 1, policies and procedures manual. Recommendations: a PPG contract and agreement written policy manual should be established, maintained, and approved for property lease building rentals by the parish president and parish council. Status: there is no written policy in place. PPG follows the state law. Building rentals are addressed by various ordinances. Observation number 2, the assessor's office adjudicated properties. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Recommendations: if the parish has acquired a tax interest in these 106 adjudicated properties, and if specific procedures are followed, Louisiana law allows the governmental body to sell their tax interests in the property. Status: PPG agrees with this. This is an issue that needs to be addressed. However, a comprehensive plan legislation is necessary to move this issue forward. Legal is currently investigating several options, but 5 hurricanes, the pandemic, and a budget crisis prevented us from making significant progress last year. Observation number 3, general leases. Recommendations: ensure that a current insurance certificate is in the file. All authorized signatures are dated. Supporting expense documentation for the lessee property improvements should be validated in the file. A current appraisal of the property and improvements should be in the file. The lessee's 2017-2019 detailed revenue received amounts from these properties should be in the file. It appears that general lease properties could be renegotiated to better benefit the parish.
Now, that issue has been raised with the legal department a couple of times. I don't know if, administration, do you know if any effort has been made to try to look at the current leases to see if there's an opportunity to renegotiate them? Okay, thank you.
The status PPG is implementing the recommendations. Observation number 4, boat harbor and shipyard leases. Recommendations. Ensure that a current insurance certificate, this is basically the same thing I said previously. All this information should be in the file upon request by the auditor. Status, PPG is implementing the recommendations, but PPG's order annual appraisals for all each property would probably be too expensive. The boat harbor and shipyard leases and amounts are established by ordinance. There's no negotiating the price. If the council desires to increase rental fees, etc., it should or could amend the boat harbor and shipyard lease ordinances. Observation number 5, cooperative endeavor agreements. Recommendation. PPG should be able to show, based upon the information and records received or available to PPG, compliance with the Constitution. Status. PPG believes that there is enough evidence and documentation to support all CEAs, the Cabela Act, including the Constitution, under Article 7, Section 14C. That's good. Observation number 6, auditorium and community rentals. Recommendations. Ensure that Ordinance 19-124 continues to be monitored and the dollar rental amounts adjusted for inflation. Status. PPG concurs, but any inflation adjustments must be authorized by ordinance.
That concludes the
follow-up audit on PPG property lease and building rentals.
Do we have any comments or questions on this particular updated audit
I don't think it's coming through.
from the administration, from members of the board, audience? Okay. I think that one thing that we will see if we approve the contract today on the agenda, or the contract with Ladder and Bloom, we may put some more structure in our operations to have an agent on board that'll be marketing the parish properties. And I think that probably will be a good thing. And it should have some improvement in the leasing and the liquidation of surplus properties. So
Yes, sir.
having said that, I guess we'll have to follow up on his actions at a later date.
Yes, sir.
Any other further comments on this item? Mr. Newberry?
So this audit was done, finished July 31st, and we really haven't come to a conclusion on any recommendations besides Ladder and Bloom. Is that right, Mr. Russo?
Well, the response from the administration is, on some of them, say that they're implementing them.
Some of this they are going to implement, a good portion they are. Some of the
Administration said-
trying to get the rental increase, that's going to have to go through the ordinances.
Right, but I mean, what I guess Mr. Newberry is getting at, that there's some effort that should be made. For instance, if we need to address the ordinances for increase in rentals, then the administration perhaps should recommend something to us, and we could move forward in that direction. Now, I don't know, you had some other thoughts maybe?
Yeah. So what is your recommendation of coming back to this to make sure we follow up, we continue to follow up?
Well, my recommendation would be to check with administration to see if they're going forward with it, and they're going to contact the council to try to implement an ordinance to get the increases in certain properties that need to be increased.
So from the responses that you got from the administration, they are moving in the direction of implementing them. So
That's
I
what
guess
they're
Ms.
saying.
Newberry would
They're
like to
basically
see-
saying it's going to take an ordinance to increase. You can't do it by contract. You're going to have to do it by ordinance. So I'm sure they're thinking about it. Whether they've acted upon it or not, I'm not sure if they've brought it to the council or not.
We would like to ask the administration directors that if you would follow up on that, so that we will be able to introduce an ordinance or the implementation of the efforts being made by the administration to comply with the comments that they're saying they're complying with, we would appreciate a follow-up, correct?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you know, and I want the administration to understand, we're not saying, hey, do as Mr.
No, ma'am.
You know, it's just, I think if we collaborate on the best way and best practice on how to move forward, would be great communication skills between, I guess, the board and the administration. So it's not exactly saying, well, Mr. Duke, we can't comply by your recommendation because this is this and this and this. So I think that's the answers I'm looking for. And
Right.
I got the answer I'm looking for is they're continuing to move forward with some of these recommendations, and I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
And I just hope we don't wait years down the road to.
Right.
I guess that's what I'm asking.
Right,
you know.
exactly.
I'm just asking for administration to do the best they can to move forward a little quicker than
Right.
we are, so.
I agree with you, Ms. Newberry. I think that the follow-up is important to make sure that there's a timely implementation of the recommendations that they say that they're working on. I agree. Ms. Conovich, have any?
I agree also. Do we have to put a timeline?
Perhaps at the next meeting, 30 days, if you come back and give us a follow-up from the administration, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll send out an email to Ms. Lapine and Mr. Epley and Ms. Taylor, about this, and so they can start thinking about it and possibly bring it forward to the council as to what they're going to do.
Can you just copy all of us, please?
And I'll copy you guys. Yeah.
Any further comments or discussion on this particular item? Seeing or hearing none, we'll move to the next item.
B, review of time and attendance follow-up internal audit report.
Plaquemines Parish Government's PPG follow-up internal audit of employee time and attendance, project number 2021-04. Observation number 1, monthly payroll personnel. Recommendation, consider certifying in the memo that employees have worked their required work hours as stated by the following LLA best practice. If not using timesheets, employees must otherwise certify that they have worked their required hours, 40-hour work week for a full-time employee. In addition, I would recommend that these letters or memos be dated at the end or beginning of each month. These offices including 1, employee under administration that sends a payroll a monthly timesheet. That's the courthouse security. May consider changing from monthly to standard biweekly payroll process, as this is the standard practice for Plaquemines Parish government. Status. Director of Administration states, there are 2 courthouse security guards at this time. Since the audit and suggestions by the audit committee, these employees are now clocking in on a time clock and attaching the time cards to their time sheets. The 25th JDC Division A has included the language certifying employees have worked the required hours necessary and has dated the payroll letter as recommended. The 25th Division B certifies monthly the employees that have worked for the current pay period and has adjusted the date of the payroll authorization letter as recommended. Observation number 2, compensatory time. Recommendation, in my opinion, management approved compensatory time policy should be in place. The policy should comply with best practice as stated in the above condition. Director of Public Service states compensatory time is not allowed in any of my departments based on the recommendation by the labor law attorney, which is why we do not have a policy that's in effect. Director of Administration states administration really does not practice compensatory time. Administration will take your recommendation under advisement. The 25th JDC states that their offices does have a compensatory time policy in place, and that's Division A and B. Status, wait a second, I kind of skipped the wrong thing. The Director of Administration states this is after the internal auditor's meeting, she discussed with me the compensatory time and she discussed, she had a meeting with finance, payroll, and the directors and the president, and they all agreed that no department is currently or planning on using compensatory time. As stated previously, this is a practice we do not practice and have no plans to implement. The 25th JDC Division A office does have a policy in place. The 25th JDC Division B also has a policy in place.
So on this item, I commend the administration for not getting into the compensatory time issue. I think it's a good thing because in the past, I think we've had an accumulation of issues on compensatory time that could seriously cost the parish a lot of money because of poor record keeping and claims by employees for compensatory time. So if we have none, then we won't have to deal with that issue.
Sounds good. Observation number 3, employee time clocks and biometric systems. Recommendation. To improve timekeeping accountability and to save money as shown in Chart 2 above, consider a biometric employee timekeeping system which is more accurate and reliable than time clocks. Biometric systems include fingerprints, iris prints, hand geometry, and voice prints to track and verify employee time and attendance. Finger check timekeeping system is another good option to consider and is inexpensive. Status. Bob Jelpe, the Director of Administration, states that Bob Jelpe, IT Manager, and Mark Hill, applicants, specialists, are both waiting on quotes for the electronic timekeeping system. Mark Hill thinks that we can find a system that is compatible with New World system, and it may not be too costly. 25th JDC states that they use a monthly timesheet currently, but they agree with the recommendation of the biometric system if it's financially feasible. 25th JDC Division B does not have a time clock in place because the type of work that the staff performs and the cost. Timesheets are completed with daily entries and submitted monthly to the administrator for review and approval. The Director of Public Service states the only thing that he would add, or she, is that a biometric system has not been feasible option since COVID due to the possible spreading of the virus on multi-touch surface, which is, I agree with that. This is a reason that the system hasn't been priced as yet.
But hasn't been priced yet?
Yes.
Well, I don't think that pricing the system would have any impact on the implementation. I think that we need to move forward with the pricing so we can get a feel for what it may cost for when the COVID issue is gone away. Yes, ma'am. Because if you look at the potential savings, and then you haven't touched on that yet.
There's a lot of savings.
According to this report, that clocking in and out, clocking out fellow employees could be a problem, but with a biometric timekeeping, almost 8% of the gross payroll annually could possibly be saved. According to these figures, maybe over $1.5 million could be saved in the payroll cost alone.
I had contacted the school board representations, and they stated very similar figures that they have saved close to that amount as well.
And what do they do?
Wait, let them put you on.
Nope. Hold on.
Okay, Ms. Taylor.
Okay, we did have Bob and Mark look into vendors out there, and we did get 2 quotes in, one from Tyler Technologies and one from a company named Cronus. And both were very costly. And the only difference being between Tyler and Cronus, Tyler can be interfaced with New World System, with what we're working with now, and won't be as costly as Cronus. But the initial cost, let me get some of these papers together. The initial cost for Tyler, the company which could be interfaced with the New World System that we're working with right now with purchasing and payroll, the setup costs with Tyler would be $93,540. And that has a one-time licensing fee, and that does not include the clocks. That does not include the clocks. They do offer clocks. They offer the finger touch, the handprint. They offer the card swipe, and those clocks start at $1,900 a piece. Currently, we have 43 clocks throughout the workforce, and the quote I did with Cronus was 20 clocks, and based on 363 employees, because we had to give them a number of employees. The setup fee, the first setup fee for that would be $130,536. And then we have an annual fee of $26,136. That's with Cronus. And I do have a packet for each of you.
So
Of this information.
so with the Tyler technology that's compatible with the New World system that we are operating under, the 43 clocks would be on top of the 93,500? And
Yep. I don't think we would need a total of 43, but it would be on top of that $93,540.
And what you're calling clocks are the actual touch tone pads?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So-
20 of the, with Tyler, 20 of the finger touch clocks would range us right at $47,900. So you would add that to that 93,540, that's for the fingertip clock. And Tyler also offers a badge swipe, and I don't know how much interfacing we can do with that. We would have to get into it since employees do have badges. And that would be like $43,900 for 20 of those clocks. And we also spoke of geofencing for the guys that are out there in the field. They could use their phones to clock in within a certain range of that setup. And the geofencing, I don't remember if there was a fee for that. That software would be included in the software also.
So you add all of this up, you probably get to about $150,000,
Yes, for the setup, the first initial setup fee.
and then,
And let me mention also, Cronus offers a rental of the clocks where we don't actually have to purchase the clocks. And looking at that, the rental setup, if we were to rent 20 of the clocks, that would be like $74,636.
well, without a careful evaluation, it looks like Tyler would be probably the way to go.
Tyler, I would think being that they can interface with the New World system would be the way to go, I would think.
And I don't know if the administration has any recommendation, but just off the top of my head, if we invest $150,000 with a potential savings of $1.7 million, it might be something that we should consider.
We will follow your guidance. I mean,
Is-
any savings that help right now, especially with the budget crisis that we're
Does the
in.
administration really have any position, or do they think it would be a good idea?
Right now, we're just trying to figure out budgetly how we would handle it, but if it give us that saving, we'll work it out. We'll work it out. And Tyler did agree to come and do, come to the council and do a presentation.
Ms. Taylor, do you know where the bulk of our overtime is by any chance? Because this is what we're trying to prevent.
I think,
Is that correct, Mr. Russo?
ferries,
Are we trying to make the
ferries,
where we
recreation,
get
prom,
40 hours out of them?
yeah, grass cutting, prom, ferries,
Okay.
recreation,
People out in the field.
yes, yes,
Right, but I mean, as an example, the entire finance department in that building over there punches a time clock today,
yes.
but other departments do not punch time clocks,
All of my departments punch time clocks.
all of them.
Yes, all of my departments punch time clocks. Mr. Eppley can speak for his.
Everybody but the ferry crews, basically.
So like permits and all of those departments punch time clocks.
They're supposed to be punching time clocks.
It's supposed to be.
I'll follow up and make.
Does that mean they are?
Good point.
Well, yeah, because, anyway, when someone qualifies that statement with supposedly. Anyway, I want to thank you for the effort in the presentation. I think that is something that we should review, especially if the potential savings is over $1.5 million. I think that it's worth looking at. So thank you for putting your effort into it.
Okay, and if the council would like, we'll continue to look into it and talk back and forward with the vendors. And if the council would like any of them to come and do a presentation, both vendors has implied that they'll be perfectly fine with coming and doing a presentation.
And how long will that presentation last, you think? I mean,
I know Tyler said about 30 minutes. I mean, if we have to have them cut it down, we'll have them cut it down, but
you might want to see if you follow up and discuss with that. I don't know if the committee would like to hear that.
Or the board can,
Yeah.
the board can understand what's happening.
Okay? That'd be a good process. Any further comments or discussion on this item? Mr. Duke?
Observation number 4, analysis of employee timesheets and time cards. Recommendation, in my opinion, the finance and payroll should review employee time cards as a final check before the pay date. Status, the Director of Administration states, administration will continue to attach the register report verifying hours worked. The time cards are available upon review at request. Upon request. The 25th Division A requires monthly timesheets, and they are reviewed by the administrator. 25th JDC Division B requires timesheets to be reviewed also by their administrator.
Yeah, I understand the district attorney does use a biometric system,
Yes, sir, he does. It's called finger check system.
so he's already for
And yeah, he says it works very well for the people out in the field. He's got a lot of satisfaction with it. And he says it's inexpensive.
Attorney's already doing some biometric.
Mr. Ballet.
Valley's on that. Okay. Any further comments or discussion on this item from any of the members of the board, audience, staff? None? We'll move on then.
C, a review of the YMCA follow-up internal audit report.
Follow-up internal audit report of the Plaquemines Parish Governance PPG YMCA Management and Service Agreement, Cooperative Endeavor Agreement CEA, project number 2021-08. Observation number 1, the YMCA Management and Service Agreements and CEAs. Recommendation, ensure the contracts, CEAs, and other agreements are properly signed and executed before any contract or payments are made. In my opinion, all PPG agreements should be reviewed and approved by the Parish Council. Status is the CEA is executed and it's current. YMCA value analysis. Recommendation, each year all CEAs should be monitored and documented for compliance with the Constitution and the Cabela Act. Status, the CEA was reviewed in December, and the auditor's opinion is that PPG and the YMCA are in compliance with the state constitution. Observation number 3, YMCA, CEA Section 4 under accounting. Ensure that agreements are properly signed and executed before vendor payments are made to avoid any error in the future. The CEA is current. YMCA Section 8 under Inspection and Access. In my opinion, a quality assurance audit report should be completed each year in accordance with the CEA, sent to the parish president, director of public service, audit committee, and internal auditor. Normally, this type of audit, quality assurance, is performed by the contract administrator, but can be performed by the internal audit department. A right to audit clause should be written into the agreement. Status, quality assurance has not been done yet, as the audit was just completed in December of 2020. Observation number 5, YMCA, CEA, Section 11 under vending machines. Recommendations, in my opinion, a new vending machine contract should be initiated and a copy sent to the parish president, director of public service, legal department, audit committee, and the auditor. Status, the vending machine contract has been provided to the auditor.
Okay, are there any comments, questions on this follow-up audit of the YMCA CEA agreement?
No, sir.
Okay, none? So I think that this has produced some positive results. We've got a positive CEA, and looks like it's a good audit.
Yes, sir, I think it is too.
Any more comments? If not, we thank you for that. We'll move on to item D.
Adoption of legislation. Number 1, a resolution to amend the start time of the monthly audit committee meetings and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Yes, I'll offer this resolution, and what this resolution does, it moves our current meeting times that we're using from 9:30 to 1 o'clock as we started today. So I'll offer that and ask for a second. Second by Ms. Newberry. Any comments or discussion on the resolution? Hearing none. Machine is open. Let the record reflect the resolution is adopted 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 3A, 3 audits in progress. A, Council on Aging internal audit.
That audit is in progress. I'm starting to receive the data for that audit. Hoping to have that audit finished for the May committee meeting.
Okay. Any comments on this item? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item.
3B, Animal Welfare Society internal audit.
I am receiving receiving data for this audit, accumulating it, starting to review the data. Should have this audit completed. I think I should have both for the May audit committee meeting. I'm planning on that unless something goes wrong. And who knows, maybe something will possibly, maybe I'll have it for the April meeting. I'm just not sure. It depends on how much data I get between now and then.
Any other comments or questions on this item? Hearing none, we'll move to item 4.
Approval of the minutes from the February 11, 2021 meeting.
Is there a motion to accept the
I'll
minutes?
offer.
Motion by Mr. Konovich, second by Ms. Newberry. Are there any comments or questions concerning the adoption of the minutes from the February 11, 2021 meeting? Hearing none, the machine is open on the adoption of the minutes. And the record reflects 3-0. Minutes are adopted unanimously. No further business to come before the audit committee today. I hear a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Konovich moves to adjourn. Ms. Newberry seconds. Machine is open. And the meeting is adjourned at 1:35 p.m.